Welcome everybody back to the Tojo Dojo here for another week's episode of Pig's Ear in Review, one of the only places we're talking about what we've been playing and watching. I'm Myshtuff, joined by Riku Rose. How you doing today?
I'm good, thanks, mate. You?
Pretty good, pretty good. Hopefully you're enjoying me at this slightly new angle than what I've been. And actually, your background is maybe a little bit different as
Yeah.
of recently as well.
Yeah, I'm upgraded. I got a desk now, so
Mhm.
I'm not like propped up on a Monopoly case.
You're a real adult now, moving up in the
Yeah.
world, getting an office chair.
Yeah.
But yes, I got a new PC set up, and as you will be soon as well, so it's been nice. So I can
It's all
play
that
that high
YouTube
def.
money.
Oh yeah, clearly all that ad revenue is finally coming in.
Yeah.
I can play some 4K Minesweeper, maybe a little bit of Solitaire. You know, that's why I bought it, obviously. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of games. The first one I'm going to try my best to pronounce: Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. Did I get it? Okay. Good.
I'll give it to you.
All right, it's close enough. And then that's what you'll be talking about. And then for me, I'll be doing South Park, the Fractured Butthole,
Two
and
great names.
great, yeah, for very different reasons. And funny enough, I'm wondering with recent YouTube ad changes and all that, if the title of that South Park game is immediately like, nope, cutting that ad revenue off.
Just video gets taken down before it's even live.
Yeah, we're just screwed. So you might not even be watching this. Let us know in the comments if you can actually watch this video right now. But yeah, so let's just get right into it then. I'll hand it over to you to talk about whatever the hell this game is.
Okay, Theatrhythm Final Bar Line.
Okay.
This is technically like a Final Fantasy spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a rhythm game. This one. It seems to be like their ultimate like compilation of this though, because they had the 3DS game before.
Yeah, that's why when you said it to me originally, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of this name before, as goofy as it is.
Yeah, and it's not just Final Fantasy either. Like when I'm playing it, and it's trying to sell you the whole game because I just played the demo.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, when you buy the full game, there's like songs from like Live Alive, Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest. You know, there are other Kingdom Hearts. You know, they're trying to.
Was the last one only Final Fantasy, or no? That was also.
As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. I don't know. I never played.
Oh, okay, got it.
I never played those. So rhythm games, I find weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone loved Dance Dance Revolution back in the day.
Oh, I still do. I'm an avid fan.
I recently played it with a guy dressed as Knuckles.
Care to explain?
I told you about that, didn't I? It was a guy who had a car designed like Knuckles, and I was down in Key West, and he had Dance Dance Revolution in the back of his car.
Why is that a thing? I've seen, because I've heard of this before.
He was just in the street dancing. I was like, "Can I play?" And I was like doing Cotton Eye Joe in the middle of Key West.
Classic. I love it.
I even like Guitar Hero. Like, I know a lot of people make fun of that now. I still think if you have a group of people, things like that, Rock Band, are fun.
So music games are some of my favorite games of all time. I love DDR. Yeah, Guitar Hero, Rock Band was super fun. And then in Japan, they have a lot of awesome rhythm games like in arcades. Some of them have been ported to home consoles.
Like Samba for Dreamcast.
Yep.
I even like Donkey Konga. That was good.
Yeah, I still have Donkey Konga. I got 2 bongo sets upstairs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've never really played rhythm games with just a controller outside, like, you know, like the mini games in like Yakuza and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never found them that fun when you're just using a controller.
Sure.
Because it don't feel like there's as much rhythm to it when you're just hitting a button.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just like boom, boom, boom. And that's the problem with this. So there's like 4 lines going across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, it's either going to be up, down, left, right, or triangle,
Sure.
circle, square, X. And it's like, you can press any button for any of the 4 lines.
Why? So why have them at all?
I don't know. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just sitting there like hitting circle the entire time. Boom, boom. Don't matter if it's top, middle, bottom line. circle, circle,
Is it
circle,
like a
circle,
difficulty
circle.
setting you can switch where
Not
you
that
can
I'm
make it?
aware of. It like nothing came up. Like in the tutorial,
Okay.
it said you can hit any button. Like it never gave me the option of like, do you want to make this more challenging?
Yeah.
But then like,
Hmm.
here's how they change it up: is you'll have just hitting,
Hmm.
you'll have hold,
Okay.
and you'll have like you can use like the analog to swipe like left, right, up, down.
Yeah.
So really, like, there's only like 3 things you can really do.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like there's a lot of variety there.
But then also as well, I don't feel like the button presses kind of, and I've never felt this in any game that just uses a controller, doesn't
Hmm.
really sync up with the music.
Is there like an input latency issue type of thing, or what do
I
you
don't know,
mean?
it just doesn't seem to. It just feels like you're pressing random buttons and the music's just happening behind you.
Oh, okay,
You
got
know,
it.
it's like you think of songs and when it like goes boom, you're expecting it to be like, yeah, hit the button. You know, like
Oh,
to like
yeah.
sync up with the music, or you're expecting
Uh-huh.
your hands to move with it in some way.
Well, because like I'm thinking back, another game, not exactly like this, but the Hatsune Miku games are like kind of like button press into the rhythm, but at the very least, they get really crazy with like it pops up on different screens, and you do have to press the different buttons, and sometimes in
Hmm.
different frequencies and holds. So at least that one does get at I think what you're saying, where it, like you can sort of feel the impact, but with what you're saying,
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like that's there at all.
the music like doesn't cut out if
Hmm.
you're like doing bad. Like if you're doing well, like have it like get more intense or something like that. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Hmm.
And when someone like I'm like Steve Martin in The Jerk, I have no fucking rhythm. Right? Yeah, I have no rhythm whatsoever. But when I'm telling you the rhythm doesn't feel right, it's
Yeah.
maybe an issue. Uh,
Yep, that's important for a rhythm game.
yeah, yeah, I love the music of Final Fantasy. I think
Sure,
like
sure.
most people will say it's some of the most iconic video game music ever. Right?
Yeah, even though I've only played a couple Final Fantasies, I can recognize a decent amount of them and still
Yeah,
appreciate them because they're great music. Yeah.
everyone knows like Aerith's theme or like
Hmm.
things like that. And I feel like I love those songs, but at this point, after playing it, I was bored after 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I'd rather just like put them on YouTube or listen to them on Spotify or something like that, and just
So
do something
is it
else.
just like an arcade game, or is there supposed to be like a story to it of some
There's no
kind, or what?
story, no. Like you can
Okay.
unlock. So this you have like the little characters, little chibi characters. So
Hmm.
at the beginning, it was like, what game do you want to play? And it was like, do you
Hmm.
want to unlock because it's the demo? It's like, do you want to unlock Final Fantasy like 2, 7, 13, or 14, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll unlock 7. And it's like, okay, which 4 of the characters do you want to be like walking along,
Hmm.
like the bottom of the screen? Okay, pick your party. It's like,
Yeah.
pick an attacker, a healer, stuff like that. It's like you can
Okay.
assign like abilities to them and stuff like that. But I
But
didn't
like,
sense anything was happening, and I'm not watching it because I'm watching the bars go across the top.
but like, are you trying to like fight someone where
Yeah,
you have
like
these
in
characters?
theory, yeah, but you're not watching it because you're watching the top of the screen. You're hitting the button
Yeah.
inputs,
Mhm.
right? You're not watching like Cloud swing his sword and hit the guy, but you're
Yeah.
not also like picking a move because it's based on whatever comes across.
It seems like they're really grasping at straws for spin-offs here.
Yeah, I guess maybe later in the game, like the battle aspect comes into it more, but it more just felt like it was asking me like, "Oh, who do you want to Who do you want walking around in the background while you do these songs?"
Hmm.
Rather than, and it was like, "Oh, at the end of every song, I like hit every single note every single time. I didn't miss a
Hmm.
single note because it's so easy. You're just hitting one
Yeah.
button and flicking the analog every so often, right?"
Right.
And my characters were like leveling up 5 levels every single song, and I couldn't tell you what that did. Like,
Something is happening.
yeah,
Yeah, that seems like just the meets like the bare minimum to be a game. I don't know. Like I don't know who this is for, I guess.
I feel like if you're in the rhythm games, there's a lot better rhythm games out there.
Right.
Like even what was it last year? That Trombone Champ.
Yeah,
Like, that has a joke behind it, and it seems funny,
it's fun to
right?
watch. Yeah,
Yeah, fun to watch. I guarantee it's a laugh to play, right?
yeah.
This seems to be like, oh, people like Final Fantasy music. What kind of things can you do with music? Well, you could do a rhythm game.
Hmm.
And I don't get it because I remember the original 3DS one got like really really good reviews as well. I never played those. They got
Sure.
and I know that rather than button presses, you used to with the touch screen like press.
Yeah, with the stylus and all
And
that
I
stuff.
can imagine maybe that plays into the rhythm a bit more and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
But just hitting circle, triangle,
Yeah.
analog left, it does not feel fun to play. It feels boring. The song's just playing in the background. It's not challenging in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That sounds awful.
really, I just want to recommend. And I know I'm going to look in a week's time. It's going to get 8 out of 10s everywhere, and
Sure.
I just don't get it though. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's such a weird subgenre that you either love it or you're gonna hate it. It seems like I don't think there's a middle ground with this type of game.
Yeah, but you know what? If they told me like, oh, like in Guitar Hero, we're releasing a Final Fantasy music pack.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Like all about
right.
that because that's in a fun form. You're playing it on a guitar or like
Exactly.
the keyboard or things
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
nothing against the music. It's
Yeah,
just the game format itself seems terrible.
yeah. I just can't believe as well they didn't make it more challenging in some way as well. I felt like even the mini games in Yakuza were more challenging,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's worrying when I would rather load up a game I already have and play a mini game within that game than spend $60 on this.
Right, right. Yeah, that's baffling. I don't know why this game I guess like I said, maybe there's people who really love this genre, or maybe there's also people who love Final Fantasy or Square so much that they'll just buy whatever, and Square knows it and it'll just put shit out, I
Look,
guess.
if you just want to call me out, fucking do it. Okay.
Look, but even you have enough sense to go, this is terrible though.
Yeah.
So I don't think you fall in that category, is my guess. But there might be some people who will buy anything that they do, I guess. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
give it a thumbs down. This is another long run in Square Enix releasing demos that makes me
That's a
not
good
want to
point.
buy their game.
Yeah, they're on a roll, not in a well, maybe in a good way in the sense that it'll save you money, but
Yeah,
not
so
for their company.
it joins Forspoken, which I
Yep.
was going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Strangers of Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Balan Underworld, Wonderworld,
Under.
Wonderworld. I don't
It
know.
definitely went under. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
God, that's
yeah.
not good. Yeah, we need to keep like an ongoing list and just keep adding to
A big tally chart of
Yeah, just
like
on the board.
sales
Yeah.
lost.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
this
Yeah.
is a game that, like, if it was $20 and I hadn't played the demo, I might have considered picking up.
Yeah, that's crazy that it's a full price game.
Yeah, I don't know,
Oh my
but
gosh. Thumbs
thumbs
down.
down. Sorry,
That's a
guys.
shame. No, that's all good. I will say
Uh,
really quick before moving on. Speaking of rhythm games, I just started playing Hi-Fi Rush yesterday, which Shadow dropped the other day. So stay tuned for that one.
yeah,
Maybe on the next episode, potentially. I think I should be able to finish it. But that's an interesting take on a rhythm game that's not just pressing a button over and over again. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, all right. So thumbs down for Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. Oh, sorry, really quick. Why is it called that? Do they give any explanation or
So I pronounce it as theater rhythm,
theater rhythm? Okay.
and I think it's because like a curtain like this goes like you're watching a theater show,
Okay, got it,
and
got
then
it.
rhythm. And I'm guessing the final bar line part is because it's like all the songs together, so it's like the final mix, like final. I don't know. This is Square Enix. It could be anything. They probably released Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line Ultimate Mix 2.718 next year. Who knows?
They should call it like Project Final Bar Line Strategy.
Yeah,
Maybe for the next one, something real weird.
Infinite Undiscovery Infinite Bar Line.
Exactly. Exactly. With Knuckles, since you
Yeah.
mentioned Knuckles. All right, thumbs down. That's a shame. All right. So, South Park, the fractured butthole. Just to clarify what I'm saying here, it's BUT space WHOLE. So it's fractured and then like whole as in like complete. But
As as
obviously,
as someone who reviewed God of War last week, the original PS2 version,
mm-hmm.
it's a very old game to be playing.
Yeah, yeah. Let's put this in context here. So if I recall, you said you played the first one, the Stick of Truth, right?
I play both.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if you said you played the second one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
good. Um, so the South Park. Well, South Park is interesting with the games because they had a decent amount on the like PS1 and N64 era. Like they had the South Park game. There
Chef's
was
Love Shack.
Chef's Love Shack. There was South Park Rally, which was like a Mario Kart game. I can't remember if there was another one. Maybe it was just those three, I guess. But
That was in
th-
the like late '90s cash in on the hype. So because I remember South Park
yeah,
like plushies being everywhere.
oh
Like
yeah,
it was like big.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I had fun enough with those games, but obviously they were limited with what they could do for that era of games. But when Stick of Truth came out, it was finally, I mean, not only was it a good game, but it replicated, like, you're literally almost watching an episode of the show because the
Yeah,
animation of the show is exactly what they're doing with the game. And it seems like, oh my god, like such a cool idea, but also at the same time like, duh, no brainer. That seems like it's so simple, but it's a really good idea. And I was telling you the other day, like, I think I am starting to enjoy RPG kind of turn-based games now, but assuming they are in like unusual or different or have
not
something that hooks
Japanese.
me. Yeah, just not look. I didn't want to say it, but basically not JRPGs is I think what I'm getting at, because I played the first one I think a few years ago on the Switch because it was on sale one day. I'm like, whatever, $5, I'll try it, and I ended up really liking it. And it, like I said, it's a turn-based type of game, but just within the setting of South Park. But then this one is a sequel to that, and I got it through the PlayStation Plus stuff that I had now, so I didn't have to pay anything extra for it, which was nice. But this one is, just it's a sequel to it. But I will say, I don't know how long it is since you've played it, but it seems, if I remember correctly, they kind of refined the mechanics a little bit. It's been a while since I played the first one, but they
Yeah,
kind
I
of
played them
updated
both
it.
as they came out, so it's probably
Mhm.
scary to think about. The original one probably is like 8 years ago at this point.
Probably something like that. Yeah, that's wild to think about.
Kids,
Uh,
time goes quicker the older you get.
yeah, cherish this time you have by playing more video games.
Yeah.
Obviously,
If I seem
um,
winded, I'm doing this upstairs.
yeah, I had to walk up 2 flights here. Come on, give me
Yeah.
a break. Um, so this game, I think, if I recall, they did refine some of the attacking a little bit, but for the most part, it's the same mechanics and kind of
Yeah.
structure of the game. But really, really, I guess the story is it's these two. It's all the kids from the show, but they're kind of split up into these two groups, but it's kind of like Marvel versus DC like franchises of
Yeah.
superheroes, and they're kind of like battling each other. And the Cartman is the lead of one of them, and then Timmy is the lead of the other one. And it's really just them doing a bunch of like random missions and like tasks to kind of keep the story going. But really, the crux of the story is you're this person called the New Kid, and you're going through everything. And it's I want to be careful of how I talk about some of the jokes in this game because I mean it's South Park, right? Like they're not known for playing nice, obviously.
Hmm.
So, but I will say with the humor that they put into this game, it made me laugh more than any of the last however many seasons that they've come out
Yeah.
with. Because like when we talked about, like the streaming wars, what like the specials or whatever, or COVID specials that they did, none of them were really like all that great. I think were our
Hmm.
reviews, like, basically thumbs down across the board for most
Feels
of
like
them.
it's sort of going off the cliff slightly. It's on its way down, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. But then this game, I was cracking up like pretty
Yeah.
much the entire time. So I don't know what it is about. Well, okay, keep in mind, I guess this game was, yeah, like 3, 4 years ago or whatever it was. So it was a little bit before maybe that slump, I
Yeah.
guess. I'm not sure, but they did a good job with the jokes. There's definitely some humor that probably, if you're not a fan of South Park, you're probably not going to like the game. You're not going to like the game in terms of the humor of the jokes. I want to be careful here, like I said, about what I say, but obviously some like racial humor and like religion and all the stuff that's in South Park, right? But as far as the game itself goes, what cracks me up, like just to give you an example, like you'll be playing in the street of like battling each other, and then like you have to pause because a car is coming, and so you have to like go to the sidewalk, and they're like, someone's
Everyone
throwing a
just
can at
stopped.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to stop, and then they come back, which is kind of funny. Um, I'm trying to think of what else. Like
I
the
didn't
story
like.
is, yeah.
I was gonna say my main takeaway when I played it was like I didn't pick people in my party that I thought were good for their stats. It was who used to make me laugh. Like so, like I always had Craig
Yeah.
because it was like Super Craig.
Yeah, Super Craig and Tweak was there. Well, I guess that's a good thing to clarify too. Is they're always almost always kind of in character of these like superheroes, and they have different abilities. And so like Tweak, for example, when you get his special, he just drinks a bunch of coffee and like goes crazy. There's another kid, what is his name? Captain Diabetes, I believe, is the
Scott
character's name.
Malcolm.
Scott Malkison. So he just eats a bunch of candy and gets like roided up and just starts punching people. What was the other one? I mean, yeah, it's just all like
Like Timmy's
goofy
like Professor
stuff.
X, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Timmy
Yeah.
is Professor X. So like obviously when he's Timmy, he just goes Timmy and like that's it. But then when he's in character, he like touches his forehead and has like a normal speaking voice, like but telepathically. Jimmy is the Flash, which is kind of fucked up. And I'm like, I mean, it's funny, but it's like, God damn, like all
Yeah.
right. So it's just. I feel like with this game, the combat itself is pretty straightforward. It's just turn-based fighting. There were a couple fights towards the end I think were a little unfair, but nothing that you can't get past after a couple
Like when you
tries.
fight Morgan Freeman.
There's yes, Morgan Freeman. I kind of want to spoil one of the later bosses. I guess I'll just say there's a boss later on from an episode where uh, I just wasn't expecting. He's a mascot of sorts for a particular fast food restaurant, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I'm surprised at how much stuff they could get away with in terms of like
Parody law.
naming actual people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But it's just like you don't see it like in games ever, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to see those characters show up.
Well, it was like I remember when Brutal Legend came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, a comedy game, finally!" And it was like funny for like an hour.
Mhm.
But when you talked about that '90s show the other day, and I sort of said like the issue with comedy, I feel like is you can't watch it for 3 hours. Like the
Sure.
jokes, you become numb to jokes after a while
Yeah.
because a lot of humor is shock, like not
Mhm.
expecting it. But when you're expecting it one after the other, you're sort of like, oh, okay, or whatever. And when like
Mhm.
the South Park game came out, it's like, oh, games can be funny. You've just got to know how to structure it. And
Yeah,
when
exactly.
comedians who know how to structure jokes or comedy writers know how to, you know, come into the game industry and write them for you,
Mhm.
it works rather than just a random video game writer who's now throwing in some jokes like in Forspoken. Did I just freaking move that with my mind?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, I'm going to assume that Matt and Trey were very involved with the writing too. So
Mhm.
clearly, like, it is South Park humor, but yeah, it is paced well, and it's clever, I guess, because some of the jokes and just stupid little gags you wouldn't see in a video game other than South Park. So
Well,
it just kind of works.
it also relishes the fact that it's a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you
Hmm.
said, when they get off the street in the
Hmm.
show, that would just be like an awkward 20 seconds. But the fact
Yeah.
the game pauses is hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Like it
Yeah.
forces you to stop and you have to wait.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I'm trying to think if there's any like things that were highlights. I mean, yeah, I mean, you just see a lot of the classic characters. There was, like I said, maybe a few surprises that I wasn't expecting for some characters, but overall, yeah, it's a fun. I would say both Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole are funny. I would recommend both of them, and they do kind of lead into each other. Or the second one does it is a sequel to the first one. So it's a nice complete package. I don't know. I will say there is DLC for this one, but I haven't played it. Maybe I might at some point, but
Yeah,
uh,
I never went back and played the DLC.
yeah. So maybe I might at one of these days, but I don't know if they're planning on making another one. I guess they haven't announced anything, but
I think
uh,
they have announced something. I don't know if
really.
it's going to be like an RPG again, but I'm pretty sure there's a South Park game with Matt and Trey involved.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if it's something like this, I'll definitely play it
Hmm.
again or play whatever that is. But even if it's something different, I'd be open. I think it is interesting because, like I said, the show I think I'm pretty much done with at this point, unless they do something completely different. But oddly enough, the game it was hilarious and I was having a great time. And maybe it is just because it's a different medium and it kind of surprised me a little bit, but there were just genuinely funny things in it
Yeah,
as well. And once again, the combat for turn based I think was enjoyable enough, and even that was clever with like the classes you could do and the different kinds, like the attacks themselves were funny, like instead of like the typical, like they had the typical stuff like you're confused or shocked or whatever, but then there was
hmm,
one where like you get kind of poisoned but you're just like vomiting the whole time
yeah,
just like all over the place, just stupid shit like that, or you can eat burritos for health, and it's whatever. There was a couple of summons actually that were pretty funny as well, like you summon Moses with like a macaroni art picture, which was cracking me up from that episode they did.
or like Man
So
Bear Pig.
yeah, like just all those goofy, stupid characters. I think I want to say it took me maybe 12 hours to beat something like
Yeah, they're
that,
not
and
long either. They're like, I think even if you do all the side stuff, it's probably like 20 hours at most.
probably yeah,
Which
something
also,
like
this
that.
is a game that makes you want to do the side stuff. They're not
Yeah.
just. It's not that
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed style of collect 50 flags. Why do it?
Yeah. Well,
You
like okay,
know.
there's one of them. Like there are obviously some fetch quests, but they're funny. Like they're
Hmm.
stupid ones. Like there was one where you have to collect like yaoi art for a character, for a guy, of like very like overly well done drawings of like
Yeah,
boys making out with each other. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
yeah.
And just stupid crap like that. So um yeah, overall definitely a thumbs up for both of the games, honestly, but even this one I think definitely is a good refinement of that first one, even more so. But they're funny, they're enjoyable, and for someone like myself who I don't typically like turn-based games, this one was like a fun departure. Like it's still in that realm, but it's enjoyable. It's not like a Final Fantasy like medieval times type of thing. It's South Park,
Take those
obviously.
words out of your mouth. There's never been a bad Final Fantasy game ever,
I didn't say they were bad. I just
other
said they're
than
not.
Theatrhythm.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Let's put an asterisk on that one. Um, so yeah, definitely recommend. Thumbs up. I think generally speaking, most people would enjoy this. I mean, if you like South Park humor, if not, maybe it might not be for you, but
Yeah,
it's a good time.
you've got to love
So
like gross out, dumb '90s comedy type humor.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think that'll
I'll
do
give
it
it a
for.
thumbs up as well.
Yeah,
I
that's
liked
right.
it when I played it.
Hmm. Yeah. So, and like I said, if you have a PlayStation Plus, at least for now, it was. I don't know. Well, okay, this one was a weird one because it was technically part of that like Ubisoft add-on if you have the
Hmm.
premium tier, I think. I guess if you have the lower tiers, it might not be on there, but I think the only reason why I could play was because it was in that premium
Mm.
Ubisoft collection or whatever. So, but even if not, I mean the game's probably like $20 now or something. I don't think it's that expensive. So, but yeah, so thumbs up for that one. Thumbs down for Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. Another tally on the Square Enix demo, like you're saying. So we'll see. Do you have any other demos coming up soon that you know of
No,
that are
nothing
gonna?
I'm aware of. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. We'll see how it goes then. But yeah, if you played either of those, let us know what you think. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye.